the most free when she danced with him. Why are you laughing so much, Michael?
Because I'm thinking that when they say to her, "Did you have any experience dancing?" Tina Turner, she's like, "No, I just picked it up." I'm thinking that does that mean in 30 years Beyonce will actually learn how to dance?
I don't know about Beyonce. I ain't trying to anger the beehive. You funny.
Experience
You funny. I ain't trying
experience
to anger the
will be your
beehive.
teacher. That's awesome. Experience certainly was her teacher, and Tina Turner was certainly known to dance in those high heels for
Oh my
sure.
gosh. And just to kind of see, what was reflected to the world. Literally, it was and another thing to find out that she was the one who spoke on their behalf when they would be interviewed. When they would walk up to them, it was literally she was a front woman, and it's so scary to know, even though you're looking at her and you're thinking, wow, she's liberating, she's exhilarating to look at. You can't keep your eyes off of her because she keeps, thrilling you with what the next move she's going to do. Everything behind the scenes was so all the way to the left and crazy.
I was living a life of death. I didn't exist, but I survived it.
Mm.
That was what was going on backstage. And I mean, too often, this is a story that gets repeated again and
Over,
again. I mean,
over.
if
Hmm.
for most of us, as you're talking about this kind of wrapping up the end of Women's History Month, we've seen this already before on our TVs. We just saw what Aretha Franklin had to go through, the
Right.
times in which she put that makeup on to cover up a black eye.
Yeah.
For those of us, with streaming services, if you saw U.S. versus Billie Holiday, you saw what Billie Holiday had to go through. All these
Mm-hmm.
tremendously strong women who, behind the scenes, were punching bags. They were
Hmm.
abused. They were the subjects of other people saw them as meal tickets and sought to control them and to yeah, literally and physically control them. And if you feel like you're in that situation, I'm just going to give you two numbers. There's a National Domestic Violence Hotline that
Hmm.
is 1-737-225-3150. That's the national hotline. So if you're seeing this nationally when you're watching, then that number again is 1-737-225-3150. If you're in the Chicago
Hmm.
area, Illinois, then that number is 1-877-863-6339. Chicago, Illinois area. If this is a story that is your story or a story of someone you know, that
Hmm.
number is 1-877-863-6339. I mean, it's terrible
Yeah.
to know that. And there are some people, and I talk to them because they've watched some of these documentaries, either scripted or just straight, factual, at least in their presentation. And they're
Hmm.
saying like, well, people are profiting off of the scandal and the violence and the pain of these singers, but it's their life. It's their life story. I mean, what
Yeah.
do you want them to do with their life? You want them to hide their life story? This is part
And
of who they are.
the one thing I'll mention is I don't remember when she stayed in this life of death with her former husband for 16 years, and the divorce was final in 78. I don't remember her signing an NDA, and a non-disclosure agreement, about sharing anything about the her relationship with her former husband.
No,
However, but it's she literally had to fight for her stage name. She had literally allowed her husband to take all of the material assets
everything,
and everything, and she
everything.
said nope. As one thing I'm going to take away. And I remember Angela Bassett kind of saying, nope, I worked hard for that. From the movie, I worked hard for that. I want
What's
to
love
take.
got to do with it? 93.
That's
Yep.
right. 93. That's right. So I to see what she went through in that transitional period to get from, because that, all of us, as I was growing up, I knew, and this is what I shared with Michael, Aretha Franklin. We had Tina Turner. There were other singers who were in literally in their second act. Didn't know they were in their second act because
Exactly.
usually,
That's
yeah,
great. Yeah, that's great perspective there. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I didn't know Aretha
I
Franklin
didn't.
was in her 40s when she was singing "Freeway of Love." I just thought the song was fun, and I liked the pink Cadillac that showed up at the end of the music video. That's what I was looking at.
Beep, beep.
But I saw I saw Tina Turner, and when I saw "What's Love Got to Do with It," and I saw her, walking down the street with this short skirt on and this spiky
Mhm.
hair, and I said, "Who is this?" Wow. And my mom was like, "Oh, she's a singer from way back." I'm like, "Well, she wasn't looking like that back then. Who is this?" And I need to get legs like that.
That's funny. So your first memory that you have of Tina Turner is the "What's Love Got to Do with It" video.
That's me.
Wh- So and that kicked out that a second act for her for sure.
Didn't
Now
know
now
that.
my now my memory of her goes back a little bit, not too farther back. It's just about a year or so earlier than that.
Okay.
Okay, I can remember being at home because I
Mm-hmm.
just my mind works. I just have these vivid memories at times, and I
Okay.
remember watching. I think it was like Solid Gold. I'm gonna say it was Solid Gold,
Wow.
and this is
Okay.
back when they would they didn't have music videos definitely then. I mean, there was a thing called MTV, but you didn't really see it. They were still kind of experimenting on things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
there was this singer who had a song out that was a cover song of an
Mm-hmm.
Al Green song. And so they showed this
Oh,
video for it, and it was "Let's Stay Together."
I remember that.
And there
Oh,
was
that
this
was
three
her.
women. That's her.
That
That was
was
her
her.
first.
I remember that too.
So she had reinvented herself in
Oh.
Vegas, as you see in the movie. If you
Mm-hmm.
should,
Yeah.
great movie, Tina, documentary at HBO Max that we're talking about tonight. Um, in that movie, she talks about going to Vegas and then kind
Mm-hmm.
of reinventing herself. I saw that reinvented version of this woman because I was a little boy. There was this woman next to these other two women, and I mean, she was
I
melting the
remember.
TV. I'm
Oh
sitting there in
yeah.
the room with my grandparents watching this, like, nobody's changed the channel. I guess I can keep watching this. Oh my goodness. She looked like somebody had torn her clothes off.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing
Mm-hmm.
this shimmy dance. It was like 3 feet of legs in like pantyhose. I was like, wow. And she's like, let's stay together. I'm like, let's stay
Let's do
together.
that. Let's do
Please.
that.
Sounds good to me. Wow. And just like this woman is amazing. To
For
think
people that
that she had that life before that I didn't really know about. I mean, you learn about it once you learn who she is. You go back, you listen to Proud Mary, you go and see her in her other former life. But that "Let's Stay Together," I mean, that was like when I saw
I,
Tina Turner. And
I
then when
gotta
I
see
saw
that
the
video.
What's Love Got to Do with It, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, that's the same woman.
Yeah, you made the connection. You made the
I'm like,
connection. Yeah.
holy smoke. That's crazy.
Yeah, I forgot. I remember that too. I forgot what that came on because there was a music video. Because this, guys, we're talking the very beginning. We were in the first years of music video. That was, if
It was
people
for
were used to
it was for "Let's Stay Together." It was
yeah.
'83. It was an early release. What it did was it was
Hmm.
Tina in
Hmm.
Europe because, as you
Hmm.
learn, Europe has always been kinder to Tina Turner than America has. It's always accepted her
Hmm.
because they don't categorize black people the same way or limit them or put them in little
The music.
boxes.
The
So
music
the
boxes,
music,
yeah.
the music
Mhm.
boxes that they do in America. So she was able to kind of be a fuller person, freer.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this song had come back from England and come back into the U.S. through the R&B charts because
Mhm.
she had covered, you know, the
Al
great
Green.
the
Al
Al
Green.
Green.
There you go.
So so it was like, who is this woman? I thought she was from Europe. I had no idea. It was like Tina Turner. What's that?
And if after the Private Dancer album, if you still didn't really know who Tina Turner was, then there was this sequel to Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And I remember her singing We Don't Need Another
Thunderdome.
Hero. Oh my gosh. I don't know why that
All
song
we
always
want
made
is
me
right
cry.
beyond Thunderdome. Yeah. Oh my
Michael is
goodness.
singing. Michael is
The bald
singing.
head and mohawk Tina Turner.
Woo, Raggedy Man.
Who knew a
She,
mohawk could look good? She made a
she
she made a mohawk look good.
I know, and she called Mel Gibson Raggedy Man. Well, it was nice talking
Ooh,
with
that
you,
was quite
Raggedy
prophetic,
Man.
huh? Quite prophetic. We later learned he really was Raggedy Man.
But as I've always said, it is remarkable to me to know what weird, crazy trauma our singers and entertainers go through to bring us the good music, bring us the good entertainment. And the things that she was seeking to achieve that she didn't achieve in her former life, she did on her own. And she lived a much fuller life, you know, reborn in the 80s as Tina Turner. What was an aspect of the documentary that really stood out to you, Michael?
Wow. So I know what yours is, so I'm not gonna steal that one. I won't steal it. I'll be nice. But it was very that was jarring as well.
Okay.
What kind of took me back is this idea of story. I'm
Okay.
always interested in story as a writer, is a story.
Mhm.
And early on, the person that I guess broke the story, which is just
Mhm.
allow Tina to tell her own story. That writer for People Magazine, Carl Arrington, who had been the music editor for People in the early
Yeah.
80s,
Yeah.
he says that she tells him her story first because she doesn't want to have to keep telling it over and over again.
Wow.
So she ends up figuring out that that's not at all what happened. So then in the early 90s, Kurt Loder makes a kind of proposal, a pitch to her manager to write a book when Tina is in her second act, the height of her second act, or at least the beginning of her second act, and that becomes I, Tina, which also is a bestseller.
Mhm.
Propelled her again. But then she has to tell her story again on the circuit to sell the book. Finally, at the end of this documentary, you see her being celebrated with a musical about her life. Well, guess
Mhm.
what? Here's Tina Turner one last time walking around having to tell it to new people, to this audience that's ever growing, always getting younger. People listen to Tina Turner and they can't help but become fans.
Exactly.
Once
Mhm.
again, having to tell this same painful story.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, one of the things that she says at the very beginning is that, it's her life, so she's lived it. And, she would rather have anybody else, play the role of her in her life story. She doesn't want to do it again. She's done it already.
Mhm.
But the idea that the pain that you go through never goes away. You can never let it go because it's a part of your story. I think it's something that
Mhm.
I'm taking with in by this film. So Valerie, all right, we'll figure out how to do this. Tell us the moment that really made a big impression on you from this documentary.
Well, I was really moved by. I think the documentary is told in about four parts. 4 or 5 parts, and I think we're in the third part of the documentary. And she's overseas in London, I believe, and they're trying to get a record deal. Now she's now surrounded herself with people that really are trying to champion for her, which is major. We're like, I want to make sure that I champion for you. And her manager at the time, I think they were signed with a record label, and I'm not going to mention the record label, but one of the execs says, "How could you bring on this douchebag, the N-word douchebag?" And just hearing that wasn't said about me, but I was thinking, so you thought so little of this woman that you call her this? And the manager is finding himself literally saying, "Please, we are working on it. We are on to something. Don't get rid of this act. She is. I see what she's doing. Let's not terminate this." And I don't know how things turned around, but they ended up keeping her on the label. But
Well, they had to
I,
because
they signed contracts.
the very
Hmm.
next song that she released under that label was a little song called "What's Love Got to Do with It."
Yeah. So if the color of if the color line is an issue, the color of green always makes things okay. But I still wouldn't want to be known or be called a N-word douchebag. I'm just saying. I don't know. Would you like to be
I
called
never
that?
heard
I
of
don't
that.
know.
There's a creativity in racism that is kind of amazing. I mean, I some of the word combinations that I've heard within the last 4 or 5 years. I'm just coming up with a
Ooh,
number.
help me, Lord. Help
Wow.
me, Lord.
I like that's a word? You call people that? That's what? I don't even know how you get to that. Uh, you know,
Take the wheel. Take the wheel,
so
Lord. Take the wheel. Take the wheel, Lord. Take it.
so going back to one of the things you mentioned in the documentary. So she gets her name and she's able to
Yes.
build upon keeping the name Tina Turner. She goes to Europe, which is kind of like part five of her life story.
Hmm.
And she finds love. She gets married to a man that picks her up from the airport. So all you chauffeurs out there, folks in the Ubers, man, like,
It
hey,
could
you never
happen.
know who your next
You can
ride's
find
gonna be.
love.
You never know who your next ride's gonna be, really. So she does that. So she finds happiness, a happiness that's eluded her most of her life.
Hmm.
One of the more interesting voices in this whole documentary, I think, is Katori Hall, because
Okay.
and she's interesting because you'd have to know who she is.
Hmm.
She's a playwright. She was the playwright that wrote Tina, the Tina Turner
Uh-huh.
musical. But most of y'all that watch TV know her because you've seen her show, P Valley,
There you
because she
go.
is the showrunner and creator of P Valley. So she is someone who has worked with that story, that Tina
Hmm.
Turner archetype story. So she knows that story very well from her,
Hmm.
and kind of talks about, you know, Tina claiming her name is giving Ike a middle finger there, and
Pretty
says, "You
much.
gave me this name. Watch what I do with it."
I
And
like when
that,
she said that.
and
Oh,
she does.
yes. Mm.
And
Oh.
there's some really interesting you know, kind of archival footage in here. Tina Turner was a celebrity for most of her life. I mean, she shows
Hmm.
up on the Brady Bunch Hour. She shows up on Dinah Shore
I
show.
know.
Um,
The Hollywood
Merv Griffin,
Squares.
Hollywood
Hollywood
Squares.
Squares.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they
They
kept trying
asked,
to ask her where was Ike, and she's like, I don't know.
no, he's in the middle square.
I don't know.
No, she know where Ike was, where she left him in that hotel room in Dallas,
That's right.
where she nearly gets hit by the truck. But that's another
Yeah.
story, and that's a story
Exactly.
within the documentary called Tina, which is on HBO Max on demand, so you can watch it there, so you'll know kind of what we are talking about. We're talking about a woman who was born in 1939, but really gained her new life July 4th, 1976, when she decides to leave her abusive husband and start out life on her own. 100
Mm-hmm.
million records later, we see what she has become.
Mm-hmm.
She's become this person who sings these songs that you recognize. But to me, one of the things I love about Tina Turner is that it really doesn't matter the song that she's singing. I mean, she could take anybody's song
And
and
make it
turn
her
it into
own.
a Tina Turner song.
Make it
The
her own.
same way that, yeah, the same way that, with through her voice, Aretha Franklin can do that. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying Tina Turner can sing like Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
Please don't get that twisted. But
please
what I'm
don't.
saying is,
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
force of her personality is she's able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and you could give. I mean, when you get the origin of the love, what's love got to do with it? I'll spare you that story. You watch that in the documentary. It's really interesting that she just kind of takes this otherwise throwaway song and just turns it into this life changing moment.
Yeah. And it's very interesting to see literally the trajectory of her life, and that is what makes this documentary so moving. She literally gives you all access. And the I believe this documentary, I think we said it earlier, lot of it was taped or put together in 2019, so they culminate everything ironically in 2019 when they premiered the Broadway show of her life, literally on Broadway, the year I left New York. So um, I would definitely recommend, if you have 2 hours of your life, it won't be a waste to,
A
to,
little bit
to take
under
the
that.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take the time
Yeah.
to check this out and literally give it up for a legend, an icon, Miss Tina Turner.
And this is her getting her flowers before. I mean, we know that
Mm-hmm.
her health is declining. We know that
Mm-hmm.
she's had tragedy recently in her life, and this is sort of
Mm-hmm.
her goodbye to all of us. And it's a heck of a gift. We mentioned it was directed by Oscar nominated and award winning team. It was
Mm-hmm.
produced by her husband, Erwin Bach, and it's really like a documentary that's filled with love. And you can feel the
Mm-hmm.
love in that, and
Yeah.
maybe the forgiveness or the acknowledgement of letting go of the person that helped to bring her into music. I mean, maybe you see that at the end, toward the end. I'm wondering, in terms of music, because we getting it back into the music part of Tina Turner, because she is obviously a musical force.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a top five? Love top fives. Do you have some songs? What songs come to mind when you think of Tina Turner? What songs come
Well,
to your mind, Valerie?
I'll do this. I'll do my top three. I'll do that. I'm gonna do Private Dancer. Oh no, I got to do five. I'm sorry. So Private Dancer is number five. Simply the Best is number four. We Don't Need Another Hero is number three. The remake of Let's Stay Together, and number one is What's Love Got to Do with It.
That sounds great. I got a similar list. I would say five, Proud Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Four, Simply the Best.
Mm-hmm.
Three, Let's Stay Together, because that's the first time I really recognized who she was. Two,
Mm-hmm.
What's Love Got to Do with It, the song that most people know. And then Better Be Good to Me. Better Be Good to Me. That's a
Oh,
great
I remember
song.
that. Still gorgeous out here. Oh my gosh. Did you all enjoy our review of Tina Turner? Man, we did that in our very early stages of getting the YouTube channel started. In fact, that was one of our first videos that we did, myself and Mr. Wamble. Oh my goodness, guys. It is a beautiful, gorgeous day. And I hope you guys are seizing the summer. That is the audio podcast, the latest one that we have. And it's available, ready for download, ready for you guys to check it out. If you'd like to see that particular documentary, it is available on Max. Yes, HBO is gone. Tina, and we loved it. That old video that we did, that review, got a lot of views on our original stream of it. But I remember doing some hardcore editing with it, and then before StreamYard, before I knew anything about it, and that's a lot of you podcasters know what that's about. So guys, I want to thank you all for joining us for a special edition of Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays. We'll be back live. All the gang will be back. Coach Tony, EP, Michael Wamble, and myself. But right now, I'm Val the Voice Johnson, and thank you so very much for joining us for this special edition of Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays. Go out and enjoy this summer day, y'all. It's gotta be summer somewhere, right? Come on, y'all. Be blessed. Take care. Peace.